Hello everyone, and in today's video, um, I borrowed a video from someone to use their animation from, not from, but to make part one of the full Piggy timeline. So yeah, and I hope you all enjoy this. Disclaimer: this video contains flashing lights and jump scares. It's important to say that the Piggy timeline is incredibly complex. You could probably grasp the basics from playing the game, but when it gets to the motivations and reasoning of everything, we basically have nothing to go off of. Regardless of that, I think I made a pretty fitting narrative for everything, and it all starts in unknown year. Thousands of years ago, there was an empire, the greatest kingdom Evolia had ever seen. The Southern Empire was ruled by King Mel and Queen Vilio, and they just had a son. But this prince born mute, and because of that, he didn't have any friends, and his parents were starting to neglect. This loneliness ended up becoming unbearable to him. He longed for one simple interaction. Like the beacon summit. He decided to give a gift to the creature. So he severed off the head of one of his teddy bears and gave it to him to wear as a mask. He then started calling the creature Mr. Stitchy. Mr. Stitchy returned the favor, giving the prince a mask of his own. He gave him a face. He was his only friend. Mr. Stitchy and the prince would spend months together. But when Mr. Stitchy learned about the prince's condition, he grew frustrated and he left. But not before the princess secretly attaining Mr. Stitchy's powers. The prince started to become more like Mr. Stitchy in more ways than anyone could have ever imagined. Original game by Minitune. Background music by Boohoo. Original music by Kolodai. Edited by Ragemaker. Mr. Stitcher was scared. He left his only friend, and now that that friend had the power to destroy anything, this prince proposed a deal, but Mr. Stitcher refused. He was angry. Mr. Stitchy decided he needed to destroy him first, so he sent down a famine. Thousands of people in the empire died. Hundreds more evacuated. The prince's parents were killed, and eventually so was the prince. However, when his time on Earth ended, his time in the beyond began. He was furious at Mr. Stitchy, and so he tortured him, stripped him of his powers, and locked him up to live in the mortal world for eternity. Now, Mr. Stitchy was the leader of a cult that he called the Insolents. The cult branded themselves with an orange and black eye. The prince became his new leader, Insolents. The Insolents started calling him the Insolent, the incautious one. But Tio was the one that stuck with him. From that day, he would be known as Tio. (1970).
Protection Service.
Protective services to mechanics and mechanics. A company focused on the manufacture of robots. They were under a much larger company called the Evo Protection Program. CEO of Protective Services was a man named Mudson Murphy. He and the tech consultant Ryder Page were working on recruiting new employees, but Ryder started realizing the company was shady and quit. Production Services decided they couldn't let Roger go. and built a robot counterpart. When Ryder found out about this, he knew he had to show the public what protection services was actually doing.
Benjamin, what's up?
Okay, so over the past weekend, we had some problems with the company.
What kind of problems?
Well, you know Mr. Page, the ex-tech consultant who left maybe a week ago?
Yes, get on with it.
After he left, he somehow got his hands on that employee tape he was filming for us, the one we were going to show on the first day tour.
I'm not seeing the problem here.
Well, on that tape, there's a lot of things, to say the least, that people took in a very wrong way, including the EEP.
Like?
Well, they thought Mr. Page looked like he was forced into doing it, that he was uncomfortable, that the robots were evil, that we turned Ryder into a robot. All these empty claims.
The company's reputation could be ruined, and Mudson decided the best way to
deal with the situation was to respond. As he was rolling up to his team to record, an employee named Harry Hunt started berating him. "What's with the scoff, Harry?"
So, 30-minute, however long you said response video, but who cares to watch all that?
Excuse me? No. You be quiet while I talk. As a friendly reminder, this is my company, so you
Yeah, I get it. I know.
keep the attitude, and you won't be keeping this job.
Got it. A CEO will obviously defend his company in situations like these. If you're truly as clean as you say you are, you should let people do the talking and put out the good word for you.
Okay, Harry. Since you want to stand tall and bold, let me do it my way. And if my way isn't working, you become the director. That sound better for you?
When playing games,
Madison decided to let Harry use his idea of letting the public speak for the company and start interviewing important public figures in the community.
Yes, it's on.
Right? Great. From my experience with protection services.
Through mechanics and machines?
Right. From my experience, Mudson and his efficient team of bright engineers and workers have their vision set on what's best for the country and for their business. And yeah, I think they're great.
The tape
then shows several employees heavily working on their project, including an employee named Ronald. Ronald was a game developer for protection services and was working on a game called Pig 64. This game would be canceled 2 years later, and the company had bigger problems to deal with. Harry had secretly added clips into the response video, which completely ruined the company's reputation. Harry.
Stop lying to me!
What do you think I did?
You set me up! You punked me!
Okay, just put me down and I can explain myself.
What is there to explain?
Okay, I film my videos as one long video and then cut out the bad takes. The editor must not have saved when I edited that clip out.
No, that's hogwash.
What do you want from me?
What I want from you is to cut the act and tell me why you did it.
Because you deserved it.
You donkey!
What is going on in here?
Oh, Anna, I was just having a talk with Harry here.
A talk? With him up against the wall while you yell at him?
I'm sorry, my love.
Don't call me that. Come on, Harry.
1972. Page versus PCMM.
Ryder pays to court. The details of this lawsuit are unknown and will be revealed
When the tape number 3 is released. Sometime after this, Mudson would leave the company. Without a CEO, the company would go underground. Mr. P would end up stepping in, buying out the company. At the same time, Mr. P had opened up a new carnival and was starting to become one of the richest and most famous people in Novelia. Despite his success, Mr. P instead on only working on his farm, getting the profits, but not paying for production services. 1980. Ronald restarted development on the game, rebranding it to Pig Plus. But the game also canceled production the following year. He started again in 1983, bringing back the original game title Pig 64. In this game, the game would be released to public in 1984. Following year, the code was game unfolded, and a virus was installed into the game. The virus took the shape of a rat MCP named Nor. Ronald would then release a sequel to Pig 64 that summer, 2000. Willow's family was extremely poor. They all had to live in a small dingy room and sleep in poo. But parents decided the Lucille Police Department would end up arresting her parents and leaving her and her brother, William, alone. After a few weeks showing up next to her named Daisy, who would come in and provide for them. On a special occasion, she'd buy them pie. But then a war broke out in Ovelia, and Daisy got drafted. A soldier named Tigray would fight in while in battle as an old military bunker. He was incredibly stressed, and it was perfect time for Chio to attack. Chio needed more members of the Insolence, and his easiest prey were people whose mental state were at their lowest. So he tricked Tigray into believing his military partner was this. He then tried to further weaken Tigray by showing him hallucinations of his past, including his abusive home life. After that, Tigray had enough. Tigray killed who he believed was a monster. But at that moment, Chio lifted his hallucinations. Tigray just killed his best friend. William was devastated by Daisy's leave. There were days where he refused to eat anything at all. William instead of friends steal him pie, just like that one Daisy would buy him. But then when she returned, William was gone, and the only thing left behind was his scarf. William got arrested later that day by an officer and a detective. The detective showed remorse for Willow, asking Officer Doggy if they were really doing the right thing. Willow got locked up in the LPT station with William's scarf on her neck. Mr. P and his wife had just found and adopted 3 young orphan vegetables. Eventually, Mrs. P got extremely sick with a disease known as linomia. Mr. P worked with a team of researchers to find a cure to the disease, left his kids, and they would eventually go missing. Mr. P and his team settled on what they believed a stable cure that they named Substance 128. But they had no way for knowing for sure about this man. Not wanting to risk an unstable cure on his wife, Mr. P started asking volunteers, and the Piggy family accepted. Georgie and their parents, Preston, Pearl, Piggy. Cure scientists prepared a batch of 5 potions. The last one would be used on Mrs. Piggy if the tests were successful. When the Piggy family goes to cure, Georgie decides to stay back, leaving only Penny, Preston, and Pearl to test the potions. The industrial results tests are successful. All healthy. The scientists urged Miss Piggy a few hours before potion Miss Piggy's case something was wrong, but Chio couldn't let that happen. The Piggy family and Mrs. Piggy had succumbed to the infection, a disease that turned an individual into a brain-dead zombie with a thirst for blood. With red eyes, he couldn't bring himself to do it, so he let her go. The infection spread from either getting attacked by an infected or coming in contact with Substance 128. The Piggy family managed to get home. Okay. But while George was sleeping, they all turned, and Georgie ran away. The detective was assigned with the task of trying to find Georgie. Went.
The detective
woke up in the house, face to face with an infected Penny. After they were just able to get away, they needed to go back to the station for backup. Holy drops a white key. Will then escapes, meeting Tigray and helping him out. finding other people to help join the Silver Paw. The detective then arrives at the station. He hears on the intercom that Doggy's saying there is a monster in the station, which would be Pearl, Piggy. He gets in the car with Doggy barely escaping. They drive away, but there wasn't enough gas in the car, so
The car broke down, and
the car broke down and they were completely surrounded. They locked themselves in the gallery, but infected got in with them. They escaped and set up a camp with an old oak forest. Willow's group was growing larger. The 9 of them decided to name their group the Silver Paw, or TSP for short. But Willow was pissed at Doggy and the detective. She believed they were her parents got taken away. She wanted revenge. So, her and Pony would take substance 128. Willow would force Pony to give Doggy and the detective the potion. First, he gave it to the detective. The detective won't have an infection for a while. But then, but unlike the detective, he did it to Doggy. Doggy woke up and smashed it. He got an axe and became infected. The detective saw him and was scared. But Sheepy was also there. He narrowly escaped from Doggy and Sheepy, not knowing that he's infected too. He either drops or see a walkie-talkie, not 100% sure which one. But somebody picks up on it.
Mr. P,
Bunny, and Sheepy had also been taking shelter in the old oak while they searched for a cure to the infection. But Sheepy got scratched. The others would start to evacuate. Mr. P would take 2 potions of rush cures, but he didn't know if they would work. He and Bunny would go to their old middle school and try to save Bunny's friend Gloria. They thought everything was okay, but then Gloria got scratched. It was only a matter of time before she returned, and Mr. P rushed to a cure. But this only sped up the process, causing Mr. P to lock himself in the sewers and Bunny to lock herself in the surveillance room. Mr. P needed Bunny alive and asked the detective to free her from the room. When they got there, the detective passed out because he was infected. They were rushed to the hospital, but the doctors found signs of the infection within them. But Bunny didn't give up. She felt she owned freeing them from school. Weeks later, hospital was raided by infected. Mr. P gave it to think it would save her, but it didn't. He told Bunny to meet him at the top of the roof, but he left. The detective woke up minutes later. When they got to the roof, they found out that Mr. P had deserted them. They decided to go through the metro under the hospital. Commercial break. What am I doing with my voice? The infection was taking over Bunny. She couldn't feel her legs anymore. When they got to the metro, Bunny had to lie down while the detective fixed the train. When they were ready to go, Bunny couldn't go with them, as Piggy started coming over. The detective was furious at Mr. P. He was the reason all this happened, and he was going to put a stop to him. Bunny couldn't take it anymore. The infection started making her hallucinate. She heard her sister Bonnet laughing on the train. Tracks went to go to, but her sister was nowhere to be found. The infection caused her a made-up scenario in her mind where she shot down an infected and rained hallucinations. She was in a forest where she found her old friend Sheepy, and they both left infected to be infected together. The detectives decided to look for Mr. P in his carnival, but when they got there, they didn't find him. They found Zizzy and Pony. After Pony infected Doggy felt terrible for what he did. He left the TSP and took shelter in the city, where he found his old friend Zizzy. He was dumbfounded on the detective. He was worried that it wouldn't recognize, which is Zizzy Backclip City. When they got to the safe place, They exchanged backstories. Zizzy was fencing coach who was teacher her sisters. Pony wanted to adopt his father and an optometrist, but someone was watching them. Zizzy and the detective decide to go check it out, while Pony stays behind. They followed the shadow into an old mall. They went inside, but the mall's security bot had been triggered by their appearance. Robbie had been built by protection services because it was tied to their database. Nor was able to corrupt it, causing it to go haywire and kill everyone it sees. It already tore off the legs of another survivor, causing her to get infected. And she had no means to escape. After Robbie, the shadow began. After he did. George got up from behind the counter. The missing kid the detective was originally after. After he got away from his family, he went to see Grandma in City, but she was infected too. With nowhere else to go, he set up shelter in the mall. While staying there, Tio was constantly attacking him with nightmares. The night his family turned, Zizzy offered that he go with them to the shelter. Their safe place, Georgie accepted him. Mr. P hunted down for killing his family. When they got to this safe place, Pony, Mimi, Giraffe, and Zizzy's sister Z and Zuzi were down a helicopter at the military outpost. The detective immediately figures out the helicopter belonged to Mr. P and says he needs to go to see him. Zizzy and Pony go with the detective to put an end to all this. When they arrive at the outpost, they come to find that the entire army has been infected. They also find that there was a correct signal as next to the helicopter there was a power plant. They're about to enter, but George shows up behind them, furious at Mr. P. He followed the three there with a baseball bat. He wasn't being careful of how loud he was, being though and attracted an army of infected soldiers behind him. Zizzy and Pony decide to stay behind and deal with the soldiers, while Georgie and the detective go to the plant to confront Mr. P. Faster.
Mr. P was
so ashamed of what he'd done and so afraid of who he was that he requested the protection of surface turn into a cyborg to protect himself. Tio was starting to make advantage of mental state and started attacking him with ghost-like hallucinations of his past. When Mr. P saw Georgie and the detective, Tio saw them too. Tio had taken an interest in the detective. He was fascinated how the detective survived being attacked by Penny when the infection first started, and he knew he needed to take advantage of it. Because Tio had constantly been attacking Mr. P thought Georgie and the detective were also figments of his imagination. He tried to run from them, but they followed. Eventually, he decided that he needed to get rid of them himself. He was going to stop them like he should have stopped himself. The detective decided that a loud enough noise would be enough to make Mr. P snap out of it. He finds a stick of dynamite and rigs it to explode the middle of the plant. The explosion disorients the detective for a bit, which is enough to make Tio enter his mind. Tio makes this emotion with him before the dog gets infected, the school where they met Bunny, the metro where Bunny gets infected, and the carnival where they met Zizzy and Pony. They find a picture of Mrs. P's wife and gave it to Mr. P, and he finally snaps out of it. He tells the detective his story, how he tested potions on the Piggy family and how he got his wife infected. The detective decides to go with leave. They meet up with Zizzy and Pony outside the plant as they finish off the soldiers. After what they're doing next, Georgie brings up the idea of trying to find a cure. To be continued. Alright, everyone, I will see you in the next